when I did my PhD, I kept my lab in the two sides of the wall. Four sides of the wall. In the two sides of the wall, I posted this periodic table because in the periodic table you can see all the properties. You can see chemical properties, you can see mechanical properties, you can see physical properties, you can see the electrical properties also periodic through periodic table. So periodic table very important when you are going to deal with the material properties. Measuring the material properties or deciding the material properties or developing new materials. The periodic table is very, very important. Please go through that. And just I open this. See here. You know already, but I would like to show you for maybe one or two students may not know about that. I would like to show that. Yeah, see this one. Yeah, are you able to see my screen? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see here. Copper. I have opened copper Wikipedia. See here. This is the time. Periodic table is given for copper. Corresponding copper properties are given: atomic number, physical properties. Melting point, boiling point, density, heat of fusion, heat of vaporization, and atomic properties also given. See here, atomic properties also given. Atomic properties, we able to understand the oxidation states and covalent. These are the atomic properties. It may be suitable for metallurgy students. For us, physical properties very important for mechanical students. And other properties. In the other properties, we are able to see that material sound velocity, thermal expansion, thermal properties as well as mechanical properties. We are able to see here mechanical properties. The Young's modulus, shear modulus, bulk modulus, Poisson ratio, hardness of the copper. Okay, so you can get all the information. At which temperature corresponds the metal, the copper is going to be oxidation. So all the information you can see within single page. Okay, please try to access the this table, periodic table. You can get a lot of information. Okay, so that's what I put here, especially this table. Okay, now the last conclusion about this material selections. As an engineer, maybe mechanical or civil, chemical, electrical, electronics, whatever, must select the appropriate material based on the application, right? The application may be in land or space applications, also it may be based on the working scenario and environmental conditions. For select the materials based on working environments, quality, how much quality, size, and the geometry of the materials we should consider based on design, based on geometry, size, quality. Right? Then based on the operation, either the component going to be static condition or dynamic conditions. Based on that, we have to choose appropriate material. Now select the type and quality, size and quantity of the material based on the power plants. But here, power plants, we are using a lot of mild steels, right? While constructing the buildings, dams, house, we are using a lot of material, right? A lot of steels, right? Mild steels. So size of the mild steels. When we are going for small house, the mild steel, the beam. When you are preparing the beam, the this diameter of the diameter of the steel. Diameter of the steel is small size. When you are going for constructing the big over bridges and railway tracks, right? And they are considering a bigger size of the steels. So that's what I'm saying here. In electronic industries, type and quality important. Size is not important because electronics industry, they are always trying to reduce the size of the component, right? Hence, size and quality, type, quality, and size is important. Quantity is not important. But in for example, mechanical and quantity is important. Mechanical and civil, quantity is important, right? Now the next thing is to consider the environment. Which condition, which scenario we are going to use that component. That is very important. Maybe a high temperature scenario and low temperature scenario and corrosion medium. Like that, based on that we have to choose appropriate material. For a corrosion medium, we cannot consider mild steel. We can go for stainless steel, corrosion medium. Okay, for corrosion medium. Now I tell you another one more example. I mean, why we are using aluminum as electricity EB lines, no? EB lines, EB towers, we are using aluminum. Why we are using aluminum? Anyone? Why we are using aluminum wires in the EB towers and EB lines? Electricity board. Why they are using aluminum wires?
Lighter in weight, good service.
Yeah, lighter weight. I agree. The another important thing is corrosion resistance is more, because see, I mean, there are long duration. The wires are, I mean, are there in the winter season, or the wires are there in the summer season, right? Are you able to see any corrosion in the aluminum? It's a good conductor also. That is electrical properties. But in mechanically, it's more corrosion resistance, because even the wires are subjected into winter season, the wires are subjected into summer season. While winter season, a lot of rains are there, even though the materials are not corroding because of the material, right? And the less weight. I agree. Weight ratio also important, right? So this, I mean, based on the application, based on this scenario, we have to choose appropriate material. The last thing, safety. The first preference, whatever we are designing the components, that should be safety, that should be comfortness to users, that should be user friendly. I have written here, descending order. Safety is very important. And the next stage is comfortness. Next stage is user friendly. Next stage is reliability. Next stage is life. Next stage we have to think about life extension. The last one is cost effective. So based on this order I have written. So based on my thought, I have written this is the way to select the material, as well as we can use this concept to select the component, or buying some of the material outside, or some of the components we can buy based on this concept also. Okay, while purchasing bike, or while purchasing new component, new mechanical system, that should be safety, that should be comfortness, that should be user friendly, that should be a reliability, that should be extended, life extended, that should be a cost effective. Okay, like that I have written. So based on your convenience, you have to purchase. You have to consider these are the parameters while designing the new component or purchasing the new component. Now I come to this last thing here. Design of manufacturing considerations in design. As of now we discussed materials, as of now we discussed material properties, right? But we never discussed about manufacturing consideration. When we are designing the mechanical system, multiple components are going to play. In the multiple components, we know the stress condition, strain condition, or mechanical properties, Young's modulus value, shear modulus value, right? Poisson ratio value, everything we very well known. But finally, we should make appropriate shape of the component, right? Then we have to go for the manufacturing consideration, manufacturing process. In the manufacturing process, what are the things we should consider while designing the, while making complete product? That's what we are going to discuss briefly. See the first thing: selection of manufacturing method, product design, selection of materials and processing materials. Into the finished components, all are closely related to each other. Product design, selection of material closely related to each other, and processing of materials also close. All are closely related to each other. Okay, when you are choosing material is stainless steel, then the machining process is difficult. When you are choosing your design component, preferring aluminum, the machining process is easy. For cutting process easy. That's what, everything closely related to each other. That's what I'm saying. When you are choosing, cast iron, when you are choosing aluminum as a raw material for making car body outer structure, which one is easy? Aluminum alloys, it can be made easily thin rolled sheet as compared to stainless steel. Don't think about cast iron. As compared to stainless steel, aluminum, it can be easily rolled out as a thin sheet. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Converting mild steel sheet into car body, converting billet of cast iron into machine tool bed. Machine tool bed, that the manufacturing method is important. When you are going for preparing the machine bed, then rolling process not necessary. We can not only rolling process, we can go for with the casting process also. Okay, so anyway, for example, I have given you here. Then casting process. What is the casting process? You already have enough information. You already studied, I think, I hope that. Okay, here casting process. For example, if I want to prepare the, I designed already gears. I would like to make the product now. Then I can go for the casting process. I have to make the cavity like my designed component gears. Then I have to pour the molten metal, either plastic or non-metals or metals, poured into the cavity, and final step going to be uptime. And flywheel and spokes, machine beds, we can go for casting process. Okay, at the deformation process, I mean deformation process, based on the application, we have to choose the deformation process. You know, right? Deformation process nothing but, I mean, plastic deformation. Here, the forging, rolling, extrusion, hot extrusion, then the indirect extrusion, direct extrusion. There are different methods. You might have been very well known about that. Okay, so why we are in the deformation process, there are two methods majorly classified into hot working and cold working. Above recrystallization temperature is the hot working. Below recrystallization temperature, which material or metals going to be reformed, that is, this is a cold, cold working, right? Below recrystallization temperature. Right? So, but you know very well about hot working and cold working, advantages of hot working, advantages of cold working, and the limitations of hot and cold working, right? Okay, we'll see briefly everything now. And metal removal process. So metal removal also, it can be necessary even if you complete the shape of the component with the help of the casting process. Then we cannot, if it is necessary, we have to go for machining process. For example, you already prepared your component with the help of the casting process, then the surface finish is not good, then we have to go for the machining process. Machining process, based on the component structure, based on the place of machining, we have to choose the appropriate machining process. Okay, these are the machining process: turning, milling, drilling, shaping, planing, and grinding. I mean, this is the, for example, transmission of shaft. I mean, while you are the transmission shaft, to reduce the diameter of the shaft with a facing operation, for reducing the length of the shaft. Okay, reducing diameter of the shaft is step turning operations, can be done with the help of the lathe machine, right? Keys, okay, bolt and nuts, bolts also, it can be very easily prepared with the help of the machining process, like lathe machine. I mean, we already studied a thread cutting process, right? Right. So based on that, based on your requirement, you have to choose appropriate machining process, either turning, milling, or drilling. Okay. Now, the next thing is, I mean, we are using a lot of bolt and welding, riveting. I mean, that will be our, based on our requirement, we have to choose appropriate bolt. Either you have to use appropriate bolt. Bolt is a temporary joining process. Welding is a permanent joining process, but riveting is also almost temporary process. Okay, temporary joining process. Where it will be required a temporary joining process, where it will be required, I mean, a permanent joining process, you have to decide and you have to execute for the during manufacturing. But welding, I mean, not only that, we have to, based on the strength of the joining, based on the strength of the joining also, we have to choose appropriate process. Suppose, for example, welding, it will be created more strength as compared to riveting and bolting, right? So based on the strength also, you have to decide appropriate joining process. Now, this already we discussed for the design considered in casting. See here, in casting, we can do even 10 gram in terms of tons of weight of the component also, we can do casting process. Based on our shape of the component, we can perform. Okay, but when we are going for sand casting, irregular or granary surface, the machining is required. That's what I told you, that when you are going for casting process, the surface finish may not be good, then further we have to go for the machining process. Right? Further we have to go for the machining process. Machining process is nothing but surface finishing. Okay, and some of the components, I mean, see here, the cast components are stable and rigid and strong compared to the machined and forged components. And this, for the example, components, tool beds, structures, cylinder blocks in IC engine cylinder blocks, this and pumps and gearbox housings. These are the things we can go for the casting method, because when we are going for very big component, better we can go for the casting method. Okay, once we complete the casting method, we can go for appropriate machining process to correct it our surface finish, somewhere the dimensions got extended during casting. Those things it can be removed. Those things it can be removed with the help of the machining process. Okay, so that's what here is telling that. Now I come to some some examples here, and where we should use some of the components especially. For example, in cast iron. Cast iron is a brittle material, right? When you apply the tensile load, what will happen? With little deformation, with little plastic deformation, the material is going to be failure or breaking, right? But it may not, that the little deformation also, it may happen suddenly, right? Hence, in that situation, based on the situation, we have to use appropriate material. For example, I can tell you here, brittle material, cast iron is brittle material. Instead of tensile load, wherever tensile load acting in the machining, wherever tensile load is subjected, in the machine component, in that place we should not use the brittle material. Wherever compressive load is acting in the machine component, that component we can try to prepare with the help of the brittle material. Because compressive load, the failure rate is very less as compared to tensile load, especially in the brittle material. Because in the ductile material, the material after crossing the yielding point, we are getting some time. The material, it will take some time to failure, because it will, the ductile material, it has to reach yielding point, upper yielding point, lower yielding point, then ultimate point. Finally, it will go to fracture, right? That at least we have some time to save our component. But when you are using brittle material, it's not like that. It's a sudden failure going to happen due to little deformation. That little deformation also sometimes it cannot be noticed. That's what instead of using tensile load application, we can use compressive load application. That's what we are pointing out here. The cast iron component can be used and mentioned below the compression load. This is the wrong place to apply. But in this place we can apply. We can use for the cast iron in this place. Okay. And this is a round corners, and you know very well there are two advantages. It increase the endurance limit of the component and reduce the formation of the brittle and the chilled edges. What is the brittle and the chilled edges? I tell you that. Okay, brittle and chilled edges is nothing but when the metals are getting cool, the corners are cooling faster than the metal adjacent corners or adjacent sides. Then the brittle chilled edges are formed in this region due to the iron carbide, sedimentation of iron carbide. Okay, that is called brittle chilled edges. So hence we would like to avoid this kind of issues. We have to avoid. Also another issue is stress concentration more in the corner surface. Hence you would like to use, as a table, this table also might have been taken from some data book. See here, 0 to 30 mm wall thickness, we have to go for 10 mm corner radius, fillet radius. You may assume that fillet radius. When you are using 30 mm, 100 mm to 120 mm wall thickness radius, then you have to use 30 mm fillet radius, 30 mm corner radius. So these two things it can be avoided. These things it can be avoided. The brittle and the chilled edges can be avoided, as well as the stress concentration can be avoided while following this procedure. Okay. And another thing is, when the dimensions abrupt changes means this is it, sudden change in dimension. Sudden change in dimensions also more stress concentration. But now if we are introducing, some fillet radius, it may reduce the stress concentration, but totally the problem is totally not solved. Not solved, the total in whole problem not solved. Hence, if you use such a kind of this structure, then the gradual reduction in thickness, then what will happen? Then this is somewhat better. But when we are using such a kind of linear geometry, I mean, avoiding the corner as well as avoiding the stress concentration issues, then now this is a better design. So such way that we have to think while beginning itself, while designing the new component, at the beginning itself, we should think this kind of informations for deciding designing our mechanical component. Okay, and this is another example for stud, how they prefer, how they're connecting two component using stud. When this is, I mean, they're connecting two component using the help of this stud. When you are going for this kind of design, it's a more stress concentration, and here this material is less, as less material available here, hence the crack propagation may be possible. But hence we would like to avoid this kind of design. Then we can use, maybe we can avoid the corners, corners also presented here. When then we can avoid the corner, we can go for the, I mean, curved surface. But even though curved surface, still some corners are there, still it will not be a good for design. But when you are going for this kind of arrangements, then we can avoid the stress concentration as well as we can reduce the failure rate. Okay, that's what. Please go through our, I mean, components we can use for both metals. Forging process can be used for ferrous and non-ferrous steels. I mean, steels as well as non-ferrous metals you can use. But where we are using most of the place, we are using forging operation for preparing the connecting rod and IC engine component. Okay, and also components where the components are subjected into excessive stress, I mean abnormal stresses, that kind of components, if you are preparing the forging method, the components, we can reduce the failure rate. We will see that how it will be possible. We are going to see that in the next slide. Okay, and the small components that must be supported by other structure. When we are using small components to join the two parts of the machine, then that components also to better to prefer to manufacture using forging operations. Okay, and some internal IC engine valves and valve bodies can be preferred by preparing those components using forging method is one of the good method. Okay, and see here the clear information here. You can see that why we are going for forging instead of casting or machining process. See here, in order to obtain the maximum benefit from the forged component, the following principles should be adopted. I mean, while designing the forging, their advantages should be taken into the direction of fiber lines. I mean, direction of fiber line. This is direction of fiber lines. So whatever you see this cast component. For example, in the crankshaft, this is a crankshaft. This figure, they might have been gone through studies. After that only they came to this information. They kept it in our book, right? So here they tried the crankshaft. They manufactured using three methods. One is casting method, forging method, and machining method. Okay, in these three methods, see here the casting method. The casting method, what happened? No fiber lines in the casting method. Here there are no fiber lines in the casting methods, and the grains are scattered. The grains are scattered here. Okay, the grains are scattered in this crankshaft while when we are using the casting method for preparing this crankshaft component here. But when we are going for machined component, the original fiber lines are rolled stock or broken, or all fiber lines are broken. This is with from when we are preparing, when we are preparing this crankshaft with the help of the machining process. But when you are going for a forging process, the fiber lines are oriented in particular direction with the help of the hammering force. Okay, forging process. For example, forging process, the fiber lines are properly oriented. Then when the fiber lines are parallel to the parallel fiber lines are good for tensile load. When the fiber lines are perpendicular to the axis of the crankshaft, then that will be good for shear force. Okay, so forging operation, that is one of the great advantages going for the forging operation. But wherever required, but we can't go for all the components forging operation, but wherever it is possible, whenever it is possible, we can go for the forging operation to to adopt such a kind of concept to make the parallel fiber lines for for a good tensile force. Then perpendicular fiber lines with respect to axis of the crankshaft, that will be good for shear force. Okay. Now the design consider machine parts to be avoid the machining. The machine components are usually made from the ferrous and non-ferrous metals. See here, the components require the precision and the high dimension accuracy. First point. The second point, while preparing the making the components, require flatness. It should be a roundness. It should be a parallelism or circularity for the proper functioning, right? And the third step, we should consider this. Components should be interchangeable in their assembly easily, right? And the fourth step, the components which are relative in motion. Each component is going to be connected one another, and some components are going to be motion with respect to another component. These are the things we should consider while preparing the component. But while preparing the component, while following these three steps, we have to follow this one to avoid the machining. Avoid the machining, also avoid machining process, and also specify the liberal tolerance. Avoid the soft corners. I already told you soft corners also more stress concentration. This designers should avoid these soft corners and use stock dimensions. Use stock dimensions. What is the meaning of it? See, suppose we are preparing the bolt, with the help of the machining process. Then if you purchase the square bar, then it will be extra time you have to do machining. For if you purchase the square bar, first you have to machine. You have to change into circular bar. Then you have to go for the remove the material process. Removing the material simultaneously would like to convert into circular shaft, right? In the circular rod, then you are going to perform the threading operations. So instead of buying a square bar, if you buy circular bar, you can directly execute the machining process, execute the threading process. Thread cutting process, instead of reducing the material, unnecessarily wasting of machining time, as well as reducing wasting of material and the cost of the material also wasted, right? Hence, we have to buy appropriate material based on our applications. For example, now I'm telling that one threading operation. Threading operation, we are preferring round rod. So hence we have to buy round rod instead of circular rod. Square cross section of the rod. Suppose if I'm preparing the nut, then nut we can buy it in the hexagon rod because the nut shape is hexagon shape. Then we can prefer the hexagon material, hexagon cross section of the material, cross section of the bar that can be easily make it internal hole. That's all. Because if you purchase for nut also circular cross section of the rod, then you have to design hexagon shape. Then you have to go for machining process to make hexagon shape. That is a complicated process. That's what, based on our requirement, we have to buy the appropriate shape of the specimen. Okay, and design the rigid parts. As I told you that during machining process, induce the cutting forces on the components. The components should be rigid with enough to withstand these forces. For example, we are using tool posts in the lathe machine. In the tool post, we are using for holding the tool, right? But the tool we are using for different operation, cutting, step turning, facing, right? And what we are using, facing, step turning, champering, thread cutting, right? We are using multiple process. When we are using multiple machining process, each process we are applying the tool post going to subjected into different forces. For step turning, the tool post going to be subjected into different force. facing different forces, going to the tool post going to be subjected into different force. When you are going for thread cutting, the material, the tool post going to have different forces, subjected to different forces. During that time, the tool post should not vibrate. The tool post must be rigid. Otherwise, when the tool post vibrates, you cannot obtain you cannot reach proper manufacturing process. You cannot complete your operation, your machining operation, you cannot complete properly. That's what I'm saying here. So avoid the hard materials, already we discussed. Now I come to this, brief discussion about here. Now this is advantage of hard working, you very well know, right? Hard working is reduce the strain modeling and hot rolled components, hardness and ductility. This is the advantages of hot working, limitations of hot working. While going for hot working, oxidation is a big issue, but you can't achieve the good surface finish, and the internal stresses it cannot be relieved. The residual stresses are one of the major issues, and oxidation another issue, and surface finish cannot be obtained in hot working. Then cold working is a better. You can obtain better surface finish, relieved. Internal stresses, where it will be relieved, either hot working or cold working. Someone tell me, please. I confused.
I think in hot working, sir.
In hot working, internal stresses are relieved, right? Okay. So, okay, just to go through that, I have explained here a few points only. So, based on our application, we have to choose appropriate operation, either hot working or cold working. For example, if we need good surface finish, then hence we have to go for cold working. For example, we improved the toughness, then we can go for the hot working. If you increase the brittleness, if you increase the hardness, then we can prefer the cold working. Okay, based on your requirement, you have to choose appropriate method. Then design considered for weld assemblies. Welding is the most important method for joining parts into complex assembly. These are the steps you should follow. Select the material with high weldability, use minimum number of welds, and use standard components, avoid the straps and laps and stiffness, and select a proper location for the weld. Prescribe the correct sequence of the welding. Okay, these are the things. Please go through your book, you can get more informations. Okay, and the design, manufacture and assembly, the design efforts make of for here in design effort we are putting 5% of the total cost only. But while once we complete the design process, we are going for manufacturing, we are putting more than 70% of the cost here only in the manufacturing. Manufacturing cost is very high as compared to the designing cost. Okay, so therefore the best only the 30% of the product cost can be changed choice of design. Finalized drawings are prepared. These are the steps you should follow while designing the component. Okay, in the manufacturing consideration, reduce the part count, use the modular design, optimize the part handling, assemble the open, design for part identity, and eliminate the fasteners. Design parts for simple and as it should be a simple and easy assemble. Reduce the simplify and optimize the manufacturing process. Now the last thing, tolerance. Your tolerance. What is the tolerance? Due to the inaccuracy of manufacturing method, the components are so manufactured that the dimensions lie between the two limits, right? Maximum and minimum. If any component, if you define, as an engineer, you define the shaft diameter 20 mm. The operator, when we are going to perform reducing the diameter of the shaft with the help of the machining process, we cannot expect the same size is going to come, because depends on operator, depends on machine working conditions. It may changes your dimension. Then you have to specify the dimensions. Tolerance. The tolerance may be positive side or maybe negative side. Okay. For example, 20 mm soft diameter, you can give, for example, 20.0010, 20.0006 mm, 20.06 mm plus side, or it may be 20.0. Lower side also you can give 19.94 mm. You can give like that tolerance. You cannot give exactly 20 mm tolerance. There are lot of uncertainties. I mean, as example, operator to operator, it may vary the dimensions while performing the machining process and machine conditions. Okay, then we have to follow the minimum tolerance based on our requirement. Suppose we are designing the new component, the fit should be a very tight fit. It should be interference fit, tight fit, loose fit. Based on that, you have to define your tolerance. Okay, so you might have been studied. I hope that interference fit and loose fit and tight fit, or those things you might have been studied. So you have to follow that while while designing the new component, wherever the components are joining process, wherever fabricating the two components each other. So those places we have to follow the proper tolerance for them during manufacturing process. It will be good for achieve the appropriate size of the component. Okay, the basic dimensions is called normal size or basic size. While the difference between these two limits is called permissible tolerance. Anyway, that's all. Okay, now see here, this simple. For example, recollect your information. See here, this is hole tolerance. This is a shaft tolerance. Okay, sorry, this is a hole tolerance. This is the shaft tolerance. Now see here, this is the minimum diameter of the shaft. This is the maximum diameter of the shaft. I mean, this is the upper deviation. I mean, this is the lower deviation. Lower deviation of the shaft. Lower deviation of the shaft. This is upper deviation of the shaft. That this is a zero line. It's a normal size, basic size. This is like basic size. I mean, there are two types. Unilateral. The tolerance can be defined unilateral and bilateral. How tolerance can be defined unilateral, bilateral? Now, for example, these two, 10. Now you are giving only plus side. You are saying that my component should be 100 mm diameter. At least 100 mm diameter. I mean, it should be 100 mm diameter. It may go for 0.04 mm tolerance in positive side, or it can go for negative side. 100 mm minus 0.004. It may be 99.96. Go plus side. This is unilateral. But bilateral means we are giving both tolerance, plus or minus. Okay. This is a bilateral tolerance. Now, one or two sums we'll see here. We can go ahead now. The main bearings of the engine is shown in the figure here. See here the maximum and the minimum diameter of the bush and crank pin, and we have to find it out. And the maximum and minimum clearance between the crank pin and bush, we are going to find it out now. Now see here. I mean, see here. This is the maximum and the minimum. This is shaft here. They have given here. I mean, they have mentioned it to 20 H6 E7. Now, this is that they obtained the value. The standard values are available here. I take to you here. I mean, please keep in mind, this is a 20 H6. H6 is a hole. Capital H is hole, 20 diameter. You can get it from the table. I mean, this is a hole size, 20 plus side. It is unilateral tolerance. Plus side only, 0.00, 20.0013. Now, see here. I mean, they have written like this. This is not a division. 20.013. I mean, this is the maximum. This is the minimum tolerance. Okay. Now, this is the bush. Bush, they have given this diameter. Bush diameter they have given, and the tolerance they have given. Now, crank pin. Crank pin is they have given negative side. I mean, see here. This is a 19.96 is maximum, and 19.939 is minimum, because here bilateral tolerance. Now take this. I mean, how they are giving this value. 1 minute, I show you only one place. This is already, it is there in your book. Yeah. Here, sorry. Yeah. Are you able to see here? See here, this is the first table. See H6. H6, see here. This is the pencil, I take pencil. This is H. 20H. 20, this means 20, 18 to 20 range. 20H6. H6 they have given. This is 20 positive side. I mean, this is ES means, I mean, higher side tolerance. This is a lower side tolerance. Lower side tolerance given 0. This is a 20, here 20 sitting here. This is a positive side is here. Then 20 plus 13, plus 13. Okay. Now plus 13 means 0.013, I think. Okay, this is I mean, but here 0. Unilateral tolerance. Okay, that's what. Now I come to this. And they have given in the problem also given like this. See here, and what they given, E6, E7, small E7 they given, right? See here, this small E7 is given. Now small E7 is given, right? Then based on that I have to choose small E7. See here. I mean, where is this limit? 20 is sitting here. 20 is sitting here. 18 to 30. Small E7. E7 is here. Small E7 here. Okay, this is EI, lower limit. But upper limit is minus 40. Here, this is given here. ES. This upper limit mentioning, this lower limit is mentioning. Okay, now 20 plus or minus 0.004 something will come here, minus 61. Okay, this way we are considering the values from the standard table. We are considering the table. We are taking the table values from the table. Okay, now you got it. Now,
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, can we actually give both the tolerances as negative? I mean, I did not understand. So we have a value given of 20.
Yes, my C, up to your C. Here I have given here unilateral tolerance. As a designer, you are telling that my components should not go below 20 mm. I'm only allowing in the manufacturing condition plus side. That is called unilateral tolerance. That is up to designer. Now, I mean, some of the components we have, as per the standard data book, some of the components we have to follow only plus tolerance. Some of the components we have to follow both tolerance. I mean, for example, crank pin, we are following both tolerance for both sides, bilateral tolerance, but bush, we are following only plus side. But as an engineer, suppose if you are going for new design, suppose you don't like for sorry, negative side, then you can go for unilateral tolerance. Okay, but some of the components, whatever the components in the standard, we can follow standard also. Better we have to follow standard, but if it is necessary, then you can give one side tolerance also. Are you understanding or not?
Yes, sir.
See, here I have taken the tolerance from the data book. They given one side tolerance for the holes. I mean, for some of the components, if you are designing new component, maybe it's not, they're not defined in the data book, then you can go for one tolerance, unilateral tolerance. Suppose if you are going for, you are designing new bush using different material, then you have to follow the standard bush, data standard, right? Then you have to follow the unilateral tolerance.
Okay, sir, understood.
Crank pin, you have to follow the bilateral tolerance. Okay, now see here, maximum clearance, you take maximum clearance, this is a maximum dimension, and here a minimum dimension, you take this and this for finding the maximum clearance. Similarly, you take minimum clearance, you take minimum size of the hole, a bush, and the minimum size of the crank pin, you take maximum size of the crank pin, you take finding the minimum clearance. This is our minimum clearance of the minimum clearance. This is the maximum clearance. Okay, that's all. Now I move to the next problem. This is also very simple. I mean 20 S6 already, that in the table they have given S6 also. Just I show you. See here, S6 also there. S6, where it is S6? See here. S6 is here. S6. This is 20. S6 here 32. I mean this is ES, lower limit. Okay. Sorry, ES is upper limit. EI is lower limit. They have given here. Yeah, so this one, and this one. Sorry, this is not. Okay. This is correct. 28, 48. And this housing I have taken from the earlier table. I mean unilateral tolerance from table, whole size. But here this is a wall visit, is I am taking this from the second table. I think 48 to 35 again. 48, 35. Huh? Minute. 48, 35. Yeah, here 5 to 6. 48, 35. What is this? So indication. S6 they given. S6 only they given. Okay. Yeah, sorry. This is ESA is this side. I erase it. Here. Because this side, this is a full table for yes table. This is a full table for R table. Okay. Sorry. Now we have to take this one. Okay, now I stop it here, and now if you have any doubt, please go ahead. This is also earlier what we discussed. Similar way, you have to find out the minimum clearance and maximum clearance. That's all. Okay, so this is another example. Please you try to do yourself. Okay, and just today at least we start. At least we start a couple of slides in the next topic. Then next class onwards, I'm going to increase my speed of teaching discussion. Okay. If you have any doubt, please go ahead. I'm ready to clarify your doubts in the earlier chapter. I come to the home screen. Yeah, guys, do you have any doubt? Hello? Okay, just we start today the second chapter, then we leave the meeting. Okay, now see design against static loading.
Sir, it's already 4 o'clock actually.
4:04. Okay, just okay. I mean, the next chapter we are going to start in the next class. So I have to increase my speed. Sure, we will balance it. No problem. Don't worry. I mean, first chapter usually I'm taking more time. Is not only this subject, because the first time I'm handling this subject now. So now I learned where I should increase the speed, where I should reduce the speed. Okay, you don't worry. I will take you in right direction. It writes and it in with right speed. We will discuss in the next class. And anything? Do you have any doubts? Then I can stop it here. Okay.